Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining me. So, way back is want me to react to, was Australia really founded by British criminals? And, I'd heard that in school that Australia was a place where England had sent their convicts, kind of like a deserted island scenario. From what I remember, God, it's been so long since I've been in high school. But so this ought to be pretty interesting to me. So way back, thank you again for your continued support, and I'm curious to see how this, what they say here. And the rest of you, thanks for stopping by. If you don't know the story, like me, we're going to get into it together. So without further delay, let's bring it over here, and let's see what we got happening here. Here we go. Do I got everything right? I think I do. All right, here we go, y'all.
Australia's origins as a British penal colony are often simplified into the idea that the country was merely founded by criminals. While it is true that Britain transported thousands of convicts to Australia in the late 18th and 19th centuries, the full story is much more complex. Penal settlements were only one aspect of colonisation, with free settlers, administrators and indigenous populations shaping the country's development. The idea that Australia is a nation built on a foundation of convicts is both true and misleading. Convicts were indeed sent to Australia, but their contributions, along with those of free settlers, led to the creation of modern Australia. This video explores why Britain chose Australia as a penal colony, the journey of the First Fleet, the role of convicts in early settlement, and how Australia's convict past influenced its national identity. By the late 18th century, Britain was experiencing a severe crisis in its justice and penal system. The Industrial Revolution had led to increased urbanisation, and with it, crime rates had surged. Theft and petty crimes were rampant due to poverty and unemployment. British law was harsh, and even minor offences such as stealing food or clothing could lead to the death penalty or transportation.
Damn.
Prison overcrowding had become a major issue. The existing jails were unable to accommodate the rising number of prisoners, and the conditions were appalling. Previously, Britain had sent convicts to North America, but the American Revolution put an end to that practice. With nowhere to send its convicts, Britain began using prison ships known as hulks, which were old naval vessels anchored in rivers. These floating prisons were overcrowded, disease-ridden and inhumane. The British government needed an alternative. In 1770, Captain James Cook had explored and claimed the eastern coast of Australia, naming it New South Wales. The vast and sparsely populated land seemed an ideal place for penal transportation. In 1786, the British government officially decided to establish a penal colony in Australia, hoping that convicts could be used to build settlements and develop the land. In May 1787, the First Fleet, commanded by Captain Arthur Phillip, set sail from Portsmouth, England. The fleet consisted of 11 ships carrying around 1,500 people, including approximately 750 convicts, as well as soldiers, officers and crew. The journey was long and arduous, lasting 8 months, with stops in Tenerife, Rio de Janeiro and Cape Town to resupply. On January 18, 1788, the First Fleet arrived at Botany Bay. However, the area was found to be unsuitable due to a lack of fresh water and poor soil. Phillip decided to relocate the settlement to Port Jackson, where Sydney Cove was established on January 26, 1788. This date is now celebrated as Australia Day. Life for the convicts was extremely difficult. They faced brutal conditions, insufficient food, harsh punishments, and a climate unlike anything they had known in Britain. Many were put to work constructing roads, buildings, and farms. Discipline was strict, and those who disobeyed were flogged or placed in solitary confinement. Despite their status as criminals, convicts were crucial to the colony's survival. They provided a labour force that built essential infrastructure, cleared land for agriculture, and helped establish trade. Many convicts were skilled workers such as carpenters, blacksmiths, stonemasons, and farmers, whose expertise was invaluable to the fledgling colony. Some convicts, particularly those with good behaviour, were given tickets of leave, allowing them to work for wages and live independently. Others, after serving their sentences, became free settlers, acquiring land and contributing to the growth of the colony. Over time, many former convicts established businesses, built homes, and became respected members of society. Transportation of convicts was not only a punishment, but also a method of colonization. Between 1788 and 1868, around 162,000 convicts were sent to Australia. While some remained criminals, the vast majority adapted to their new lives, integrating into the developing colony. As the population grew, the British government sought to expand its control over Australia. New settlements were established in other parts of the continent. Hobart, 1804, founded in Van Diemen's Land, or now modern-day Tasmania, primarily as a penal settlement. Tasmania became known for its harsh convict system, including notorious penal colonies like Port Arthur. Brisbane, 1824, established as a penal colony for the worst offenders. It later developed into a major commercial city. Perth, 1829, initially a free settlement. Western Australia eventually requested convicts to assist with labour shortages. Melbourne in 1835, and Adelaide in 1836. Unlike other cities, these were founded by free settlers rather than as penal colonies. By the mid-19th century, the convict transportation system began to decline. Free settlers, who had arrived in increasing numbers, resented being associated with convicts and pushed for an end to transportation. The last convicts were sent to Western Australia in 1868. While convicts were instrumental in the early development of Australia, free settlers also played a crucial role. The British government encouraged immigration, and thousands of people came seeking opportunities. The discovery of gold in the 1850s led to a massive population boom. Gold rushes in Victoria and New South Wales attracted immigrants from Britain, China, and other parts of the world. The influx of wealth transformed Australia, leading to rapid urbanisation and the construction of roads, railways, and industries. By the late 19th century, Australia had evolved from a penal colony into a prosperous society with a growing economy and democratic governance. In 1901, the 6 colonies united to form the Commonwealth of Australia, officially becoming a self-governing nation. Australia's convict past has played a significant role in shaping its national identity. For many years, there was a stigma attached to convict ancestry, and people often tried to hide their family's history. However, in recent decades, there has been a shift in perspective. Many Australians now embrace their convict heritage with pride, seeing it as a testament to resilience, perseverance, and survival. Genealogical research into convict ancestry has become popular, with many discovering that their ancestors were among the early convicts who helped build the country. The convict era also contributed to Australia's national values. The harsh treatment of convicts fostered a strong sense of mateship and egalitarianism, principles that continue to define Australian culture today. However, Australia's colonial past also includes darker aspects, particularly the mistreatment of Indigenous Australians. The arrival of British settlers led to the dispossession, violence, and suffering of Aboriginal peoples. Today, Australia continues to grapple with these historical injustices, working towards reconciliation and acknowledging the full story of its past. While Australia was founded as a penal colony, it quickly grew into much more than a land of criminals. Convicts played a crucial role in the country's early development, but free settlers, Indigenous peoples, and later immigrants all contributed to its transformation into a modern nation. Australia's convict past is now seen as a unique part of its history, one that symbolises resilience and the ability to turn hardship into success. From its humble beginnings as a penal colony to its emergence as a thriving democratic nation, Australia's story is one of survival, innovation, and national pride. The transition from a penal colony to a flourishing nation was not immediate, nor was it free of struggle. The contributions of convicts, their descendants, and free settlers built the foundation of an egalitarian society. The convict era influenced Australia's values of hard work, determination, and an unyielding spirit in the face of adversity. Today, Australians acknowledge and embrace this past, recognising that the challenges faced by their forebears contributed to the nation's identity. Moreover, Australia's history serves as a reminder of both triumphs and injustices. While celebrating the perseverance of early settlers, the nation also continues to address the historical mistreatment of Indigenous Australians. This complex history is integral to modern Australia, shaping its ongoing journey toward reconciliation and unity. Ultimately, Australia's transformation from a penal colony to an independent and prosperous nation demonstrates the power of human resilience and the capacity for change. The country's story, once marked by hardship and punishment, has evolved into one of success, multiculturalism, and national pride, proving that a nation's past does not define its future, but rather shapes the path it chooses to follow. If you enjoyed this video and want to support our work, consider subscribing. Your support helps us continue to bring insightful and informative content, and stay updated on more fascinating historical and cultural stories. Thank you for watching.
Yeah, so man, there's a lot to unpack on this one, but I'm not going to go too deep into it. So yeah, I didn't realize. I mean, if you think about it, if you really just sit and think about it, it couldn't be just a country of convicts, because who was going to administer the convicts? Who was going to provide the food? Who was going to, all the infrastructure that's needed to run a penal colony, because even murderers get out on parole eventually. So you got to have something there. I mean, when a ship pulls into port there with all these convicts, I mean, if you think about it, you can't just open the cages of the ship and say, all right, you're on your own and have a good time. I mean, they would take over that ship in just a minute. At least that's what my brain is thinking. But if you think about it, England's a very, very small country, and they colonized so many places, especially in the 1700s, that it took a while for them to unravel all that. We in the United States unraveled it and separated from England in 1776. That's when everything was ratified for us. And I noticed it was approximately 12 years after that for some parts of Australia, and then even further away than that before everything was kind of, everybody got together. The other thing I'd like to say is how, last century, there was probably a lot of people that were ashamed of their heritage, but that's, I hope that they got over that, because you are who you are. You didn't get to choose who your ancestors are. You just gotta, own up to the fact of your name. For instance, me, I don't know what my ancestry is. My grandfather's dad came out of Texas as an adult, as a young adult, but we don't know what his name was. So I mean, there's no way to trace that behind him. He took on the name once he crossed from Texas into Oklahoma. He took on a new name, and that's his name. Can't be traced after that. So I don't know, pretty much what my heritage is on that side of the family. On the other side of the family, I know it goes back. I can trace it back probably, all the way back to the beginning of this country. But I don't know what they did. I don't know what was their feelings towards slavery compared to today. I don't know, but I'm not going to disown them or disown my name because they might have, been assholes back in the 1800s, early 1800s, or whatever. So be proud of who you are, you Aussies. You got a wonderful country, and it took every person, even your ancestors, to make it what it is today. So own up to it, be happy for it, and be proud of what your name is, proud of how you got to where you are, regardless of the circumstances. No one's perfect. Just be proud of it. And you got a wonderful country. So that's going to do it for me, y'all. Way back, thank you for the request to buy me a coffee, and everybody else for supporting this channel. I hope this wasn't... I hope my remarks weren't too out of the norm, but I just wanted to say don't be ashamed of who you are. Be proud of who you are, good or bad. You know, can you imagine if your ancestors knew you disowned them? That would break their heart. So that was an interesting one. I didn't realize all the intricacies of that. I never stopped to give it that much thought, but I'm glad I got this opportunity. So till I see y'all again, I'll catch you on down the road. All right, and yeah, just be on the lookout for the next one. It's right around the corner. Bye, y'all.